most of the companies prefer tier 1 or tier 2 college, and no companies were coming to our college, decided to lay off 350 employees at the time. And we got to know that our whole complete analytics team is going to dissolve, and we were the part of that team. It was a very difficult phase for me for the starting 7 to 8 days, because it took me like, what is happening, what is this? Yes, you have to tell the truth, don't like hide it. After that, I started learning statistics, maths part, which is the very important thing when you come into the data field. It took me around 5 rounds of interviews.
Just try to imagine a situation that you are a fresher, you graduated from a tier 3 college. After that, you did not get any placement and you put all your hard work to get the off-campus opportunity. Somehow you figured out that the data domain is your interest and you started your career in the business analyst role, that too with a well-known product-based company, and then layoff comes. And as a fresher, just after spending 5 to 6 months in the industry, you got laid off from that company. And this is exactly what happened with our guest speaker, but he was self-motivated enough. He didn't take it as a setback, he took it in a positive way, and after getting laid off from his first company, he did more hard work and applied in so many companies, and as a result, within 30 to 40 days, he got a job as a business analyst in a fintech startup. I know this story will inspire a lot of people, so make sure you watch this podcast till the very end. He will be sharing everything with us, like how to deal with these kind of situations, how recruiters and companies will see such kind of candidates who got laid off, how to prepare for business analyst role, what all skills you need to acquire, what kind of upskilling you can do after getting laid off or any such type of situation. So watch it till the very end because it is super informative. And just a small announcement for all the aspiring data engineers. You already know that I have launched my own platform, Grow Data Skills, and our first fast track data engineering bootcamp Noob 1.0 batch is going to start from 3rd of June. So only 2 weeks time is left. Early bird offer is still going on. If you have not enrolled yet, hurry up. Link and coupon code is in the description. I'll see you in the live classes. Alright, so thank you so much, Aniket, for joining me in this podcast. Super excited to know more about your journey and your life experiences. But first of all, it would be really good if you can introduce yourself to the audience, anything about your academic background, past and current professional background.
The very first thing is, thank you so much, Shashank, for like having you on your podcast, and it's really great to have you on your podcast, and I'm a big fan of you as well in the data field. So yeah, first of all, thank you so much. So yeah, my name is Aniket. I am currently working as a business analyst at Five, which is a fintech startup, and prior to that, I was working with Udaan, which is product-based company. So coming to our background, I have completed my computer engineering from the Pune University, tier 3 college, and after that, I didn't have like any experience in the data field when I was studying. And even the one most important thing, when I completed my last year, I was not even able to write the Hello World program, the C program. So I had some other plans, but God had some better plans for me. So because I had to do the civil services, but due to some issues and the COVID happens, right? So everything got stuck. So I decided to come into the data field. So I started preparing after the degree. I prepared all these things within 5 to 6 months and got my first job in the product-based company as a business analyst.
As you said, in the end of your engineering, you had some different plans. So I actually want to know, what were your plans? You were desperate to go into the IT, or you were planning for something else? So just share about that experience. And also, how did you get your first job? Maybe it was on campus or you applied from your side. If you can share all those things.
Yeah, sure. So actually, when I go, because we all have to complete one project when we are into the degree. So we were doing a machine learning project when we were at the basically the last year, and that time I got to know about the data field. Yeah, it is kind of some interesting part. I started researching on that, look some videos, and fortunately I saw some of your videos as well, and then I got to know about the data field, and I started researching on that. And then after completion my degree, I started looking for the basically certifications, or is there any courses for that, and then I joined one of the course. Basically it helped, but most of the things, I would say 80 to 90% I learned from the YouTube itself, because there are a lot of free stuffs over there, good YouTube channels as well. I started reading some blogs as well. The Towards Data Science, one of the good blog, I would say, that you can refer. So I started reading that as well. And after that, like, yes, and it was off campus, because coming from the tier 3 college, most of the companies prefer tier 1 or tier 2 college, and no companies were coming to our college. So after preparing the data field, after starting, so and then I started applying for the jobs on LinkedIn or Naukri and all the, and my main focus was to getting a referral, because when we get a referral, then it is easy to direct your resume basically shows to the manager directly, right? So I started getting the referrals, and then I got into the business analyst at Udaan.
As you said, like you watched some videos and then you figured out. But my straight question is, how did you actually figure out your interest for the business analyst profile? Because this is something which maybe a computer science graduate might not enjoy, their obsession for programming, DSA and many other things, right? Or software engineering. So why business analyst type of role? Why not something else?
Yeah, right. So my main goal was to getting a DS role, data science, or we can say data scientist role. But as I was from the tier 3 college, and basically most of the companies take the candidate who are from the tier 1 IITs and all those things. And they prefer data scientist role for their students as well. But coming from the tier 3 college and not having a prior experience in the data field, so I thought it is a bit difficult to directly jump into the data scientist role, because after talking a lot of data scientists at some of the most like valuable companies, I would say, they told me that you should go with the data role, basically first data analyst or business analyst, and then you can switch to the data scientist role. So I started preparing business analyst, started like researching about the best companies to work with this role, and I got up into the Udaan. But yeah, and one tragedy happened with me basically when I got into the Udaan after 6 or 7 months. Right now also this thing is happening, which is called layoffs and all this kind of stuff, and our company also decided to lay off 350 employees at the time, and we got to know that our whole complete analytics team is going to dissolve, and we were the part of that team. So after coming to know this as well, I started again researching about the layoffs and started applying for the jobs, taking the referrals. And then after getting laid off, like we already knew that this is a kind of a very stressful thing. But after that, I knew that how to approach on LinkedIn, how to get a job, because I had almost applied up to more than 600 or 700 jobs just within 1 month or 2 months.
Wow.
And then I got the job. So I knew that how to approach the people, how to apply on the LinkedIn and all the other platforms, I would say. Then I had that confidence that yes, after these layoff situations also, I can get a job, and within just 30 to 45 days, I got another job at 5.
Honestly, like it's really sad to hear about the layoff part, and why it hurts more, because you just started your career as a fresher, and someone who gets this type of experience in his or her first job, that could be very drastic, right? So maybe my question is, as a fresher, how was that moment for you? Like what kind of mental situation were you passing through at that time? Obviously within family, within friends, and even personally, what was that time for you?
Yes, actually, within just starting out and after just 6 or 7 months, I basically saw this layoff series, and I took it as a positive way, because yes, this is when we have some experience, and it is difficult because the family, if we have the family, then it is difficult to like think about that in a right way. But yes, this is my starting phase. I would say I don't have any another stresses over there, so I took it as in a positive way. My family also supported, my friends also supported very much, I would say, and I started researching on that. But yes, starting in this phase was a very difficult phase for me for the starting 7 to 8 days, because it took me like, what is happening, what is this call, basically why it is happening, because most of the companies were laying off, and at that time 20,000 employees got laid off from the Amazon and all those product based companies, I would say, all those things. So I took it in a positive way, started researching how to like overcome from this situation, and then started applying for the jobs. And yes, this was a great learning for me, and I knew now if this is happening in the future also, I know that how to approach, how to deal with this situation, and it will really help the audience as well.
Let's say somebody got laid off, okay, then as you said, you were again applying for the jobs, applied for like more than 600 700 companies within a month, right? So somebody who got laid off, how recruiters and how companies treat those candidates, like what's their thought perspective for such type of candidate? Do they low boil the candidates, or they are like, oh, we will only judge you on your skills, whatever happened, that is completely fine. And also, will this be treated as a career gap? Because you never know if it is gonna take 1 month, 2 months, or 6 months, 8 months to find the another job. So share that experience as well, because 600-700 companies, I am feeling like you would have seen a lot of things.
Right. Yes. The same question I got in my mind. Like, yes. Now I got basically I have seen this situation, but now how to approach if let's say interviewer asks me like, why do you want to switch the company? Then what do I say? Just to improve the skills and all those kind of things. But after talking with the stakeholders, talking with the business owners, and after researching, yes, you have to tell the truth. Don't like hide it. Just tell that this is the situation, and due to this, I have started applying for the new job. But if you are just trying to overcome and just hide it, no, I want to just upskill myself, I want to do this, and without, because they will definitely know that this situation has happened, and yes, they also know that what is the current market. If because this is not the thing only one company is laying off the employees, most of I would say all the companies are laying off, and they know due to this situation, market profit and cost cutting issues, the employees are getting laid off. So yes, I told the truth, how basically I wanted to tell them. And basically yes, when we talk about the career gap, but yes, if we are spending 3 to 4 months in between this period, if you are not doing anything, then this might be the career gap, because interview will think, no, this he just wasted his or her 3 to 4 months without upskilling himself. So I would say, and this is what I did. After getting this situation, I started brushing up the SQL skills. I started learning new technologies, new things, and side by side, I started applying for the jobs as well. So these things cover up this situation. And I also, as I was upskilling myself, I said and I told basically to the interview that yes, I was applying for the jobs, and simultaneously I was basically upskilling myself, learning the new technologies as well. So this thing will definitely help you in some or the another way.
In your journey as a business analyst, I guess a lot of people are now waiting for these questions. In your journey as a business analyst, how did you prepare yourself to crack this role? Because you got that opportunity as a fresher. So what skills did you acquire step by step? And step by step, when I'm saying, I want you to include all those skill set which helped you to get your first job and which helped you to get your second job, right, after this layoff part, because that is gonna super helpful for the audience.
Right. So as coming from the tier 3 college, I didn't even know because as I told you, I was not even able to write the 𝗗𝗏 program when I completed my last year, right? And I had some other plan. But after researching, I got to know about this field. The very first thing that I did was basically, I started reaching out to the people who already are in this field. Because starting from scratch, you don't know what skills you should be like, you need to know. I started reaching out to the stakeholders from big companies, Amazon, Google, and all those things, and also from the Udan as well. What skills do I need to learn? Which things basically so see, when you don't know anything, just try to reach out, because people just step back and they see, no, I know everything, why do I need to ask some like these kind of things. So the very first thing that I started learning was from the Excel. Most of the students and beginners think that, no, yeah, I know Excel, this is the very basic thing, but this is not the case. It took me around 10 to 15 days to from basic to intermediate to advanced to learn the Excel part. There are a lot of things that you need to learn from in the Excel, I would say. After that, I started learning statistics, maths part, which is the very important thing when you come into the data field. You need to know the statistical analysis part, because you are going to work on the data, and this is the most important thing that I would say you need to prepare. After that, I started learning the visualization tool, which is the most important thing, I would say, because when you want to present something to the stakeholders, something to the business owners, then you should be built, because you have the CSV file, JSON format, the data format. And when you see that data, you don't even know what is the basically what you are going to do with the data, what are the KPIs you will be judging from the data. So you need to be good at one of the visualization tool, either Tableau or Power BI. I learned Tableau because it is a kind of easy, both are easy, but I looked into the Tableau very like in a professional way. So I started learning that, and after that I took the SQL part the most. And when I started and researched that, I was thinking, no, yeah, I'm not going to do this because it is a kind of a difficult tool to learn. But no, this is not the case. I would say to all the students and beginners, this is not the case. So you have to, and it is the must, you need to learn the SQL, because without SQL there is no data feed. You cannot enter into the data feed. So you need to learn the SQL from the basic aggregation functions to window functions, city, clause, stored procedure, and all those things you must know, because you are going to use, basically you will be using the SQL each day to pull the data to work on the warehouses, right? So you must know SQL. And after that, I started learning Python libraries, NumPy, Pandas, Matplotlib, and Seaborn. These are the basic libraries that you must know, because when you do some data analysis, then you need to push the data into the Python and do some data analysis, statistical analysis, I would say, building some charts and explaining to the stakeholders, taking the meetings. So this is the most important thing. So the tools that I would say, start from Excel, then statistics, Power BI or Tableau, SQL, and then Python. So these are the 5 most important tools I would say that you must know.
So this is helpful. Thanks, Aniket, for sharing this one. I guess this will definitely help the audience. So maybe a quick follow-up question from the programming side. Like, I want to understand, and maybe you would have also received these kind of questions, that what kind of coding or what level of Python a business analyst should actually know?
Okay. Yes, each day I got a lot of messages on LinkedIn as well, and or in the YouTube comments as well, that do I need to learn DSA or how much DSA is required. So yeah, you don't need to be an expert level, like, or if you know basic to intermediate level of coding, then it is fine. But this is the case if you are targeting FANG companies, Facebook, Google, Amazon, then you must know DSA, because their first or second round itself is on the DSA part. So they will ask you some linked list, graphs, and all those things. So you must know DSA only if you are targeting the FANG companies. But your target is fintech, startups, or let's say product-based companies that are starting out. Let's say Meesho is there, Swiggy is there, Zomato is there, or some other companies. Then you don't need to learn DSA, but if you know the theory part, the OOPS concepts, and if you know basic to intermediate of Python, how to write the code, how to run the loops, and some NumPy and Pandas things, kind of things, then it is good to go with that level of Python as well. And when you prepare, then this is how I prepared as well for the SQL part. I used to write a code on Workbench. After pulling the data, I used to download the dataset from the Kaggle, multiple dataset, writing own queries, looking into the datasets, and I used to write the SQL queries on HackerRank as well. So 1 star, 2 star, 3 stars, up to 5 stars. So you have to practice a lot on HackerRank and LeetCode. And also coming to the Python, then you can prepare all these kind of things on the HackerRank as well.
I see. Another important question which I want to ask, a lot of people would be interested to know the interview process for the business analyst role. So since you are in the boat of this entry level fresher, so can you explain how this interview process gonna look like for someone who is starting in the business analyst role? So if you can break it down, like each round, what would be the expectation from the interviewer side? So it will help the audience to plan their roadmap as well.
Right. So when I applied basically in at Udaan, so I was thinking yes, 3 rounds would be enough. But after taking interview, the process like went, and it took me around 5 rounds of interviews. So I had given 5 rounds at Udaan. So first was just a screening round, but they asked me about myself, like what kind of skills do you have, do you know, and have you basically do you have any hands-on experience on the tool. So this was just a screening round. But starting from the next round, they were mainly focusing, they were focusing on the Python and SQL. So SQL and Python you must know basically when you learn the SQL, when you learn the Python. And after in the second round of basically in the interview round, they asked me more questions on SQL. They gave me some data sets, they gave me 2 tables, and they were just asking me pull out highest salary and all those kind of things, cumulative sum. So these are some of the most asked question I would say you must know, you need to prepare, because second round was totally on the SQL. It went around I would say 45 to 1 hour 60 minutes. So it was completely based on SQL. Coming to the third round, they asked me the questions around Excel and Python. They gave me some data set, I would say the problem, they asked me to perform VLOOKUPs and HLOOKUPs, because and also ask me the syntax or the code that you will be using in the perform these operations. Like as Udaan is a product-based company and also a lending platform, so they asked me some of the statistical analysis as well in the third round, and also on the Python, like difference between list and tuple, how to write the dictionary, how to read the JSON format. They gave me some data set which was in the JSON format, and how would you create a table from this JSON format. So I had to written the code on this, and basically, And then they started asking me some coding questions like palindrome and odd even. This is just a basic thing, but they started asking some advanced questions on the Python, and they asked me, how would you approach this? What is your logic behind like to solve this question? And coming to the fourth round, they started asking me some guesstimates and like approach based question. And to all the students and beginners, you need to be like, you should be good at guesstimates as well, because most of the students and beginners don't know even about this, that what is the guesstimates, how to approach the guesstimates and approach based questions. So they asked me how to increase the sales. Suppose they have, and they asked me 2 to 3 questions on the guesstimates. I started approaching them. And after at the fifth round was basically on the HR round, so salary negotiations, some behavioral questions like how do you approach some behaviors kind of things.
The last question to end up this podcast, Aniket, since at your experience level, if somebody want to start their career as a business analyst, so how much compensation they can expect? And since you talked about the product based companies, so I know like in service based and consulting, this number can go lower down, but it would be good if you can share something about the product based company.
Right, and this is the most asked questions from the students as well, and this is the most lovable questions, I would say. So yeah, and I was from the tier 3 college. So if you are from the tier 3 college, then salary range would be less as compared to the tier 1, tier 2. But coming towards the product based companies, if you are from the, let's say, tier 3 college, then you can expect anywhere between 5 to 8 or 5 to 7. If you are targeting product based companies. If you are targeting service based companies or let's say fintech at the beginning, then the salary range would be 4 to 6 or 6.5 as well. But if you are targeting product based, then the salary range would be 5, 6 up to 8. And if you are a tier 3, let's say if you are from the tier 1 IIT, then it will go about 12 lakhs. And let's say as I had the basically experience for just 6 or 7 months, and I switched the company. Then after 6 or 7 months, you can expect anywhere between that 40 to 45% hike if you are negotiating it in a very well manner. And if I say for 1 to 1.5 year of experience, you can expect anywhere between above 15 lakhs. Let's say, because Amazon is giving this kind of package 17-18 LPA as well, just for the 1.5 year of experience. So the average would be for the tier 3 would be 5 to 7. Yes.
So awesome, Aniket. Thank you so much. I would say it was lovely session with you. Nice interacting with you, and most important, your journey, because at least for any fresher or even for an experienced person, this could be a learning that how to deal with these situations and not to worry about it. Don't give up and don't feel demotivated, but what sort of strategy you can opt for to even come out from these kind of situations. So thanks, Aniket, for joining us and sharing a wonderful experience as a business analyst. This is going to help a lot of people. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Shashank, and it was a really great talk with you as well. And I really wanted to do something special for the students and beginners as well, and I love to help a lot as well. And so yeah, I'm glad that I could help the students, beginners, and you invited me on your podcast. So it is really, I'm so glad, and yeah, thank you so much for that.
Thank you. And Aniket has also started his own channel, so I'll put the link in the description. Go and show some love and support, because he'll be bringing super good content around the business and data analytics. So go and subscribe. So that is what I had in this amazing podcast. I'm pretty sure you would have enjoyed this entire experience of Aniket, and his story is definitely a real motivation for all the freshers who are coming from the tier 3 kind of college background and want to go into the data analyst and business analyst job profile, that too off campus. If you find it informative, you loved it, make sure to give so many likes to this podcast. And feel free to share your thoughts and opinion about his journey, or you have something else to share in the comment section. Again, if you have not enrolled yet on our fast track data engineering bootcamp, then do it right now. I'm waiting for you all there. I will see you guys really soon with another amazing podcast. Till then, just keep exploring data.